As you'll know, Fighting on Film and Warfare Media partnered up to give our listeners a huge discount on high-quality Cold War posters. But now there's more. Warfare Media also offers clothing and the chance to order OP4 DPM camouflage uniforms. Support the podcast and use the code FOF20 at checkout for 20% off your order. Don't delay, visit warfaremedia.net today.
Hello and welcome back to Fighting on Film. Now this week we have a real classic British naval war movie for you. It is the Trevor Howard-led Gift Horse from 1952. You cannot look a gift horse in the mouth. Before we begin the show, we have some exciting news. We'll be at the IWM in London on the 15th of March, where we'll be chatting with Rob Hutton from the War Movie Theatre podcast, all about the myth-making and messaging of war films. We're doing a little co-talk about propaganda and films and filmmaking of the 20th century. The day is going to be full of some really fascinating talks, including one from Andy Robertshaw, who's going to be talking about some of the films that he's worked on as a historical advisor and historian.
Yeah, 1917, War Horse.
Yeah. A couple of really good ones, big ones. So head over to the Imperial War Museum's website to find out a little bit more about that and to pick up a ticket.
Yeah, we look forward to seeing some of you for faithful there on in March. We're looking forward to that one.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah, very much is. While we're on the topic of talks, there's another talk coming up called Dispatches Live on April the 26th at the Great Barn in Titchfield with Jack Boucher and Rob Lyman, as well as Ollie and Bill from the YouTube channel Squire. Now, why are we mentioning a talk that we're not part of? You might hear you cry out there in podcast land. Well, I work for Dispatches magazine, and we are a history and reenactment magazine, a little bit like The Armourer, a little bit like Skirmish, if you remember that one, any reenactors out there. And we're a brand new magazine, we're on issue 3, and we're trying to get the word out there. And this live event that we're putting on is going to be an absolute corker. We'd love to see some of you there if you want to come down. And do look out for a link for Dispatches magazine on our website and our socials soon. And use the code FOF10 for a big 10% off any subscription deals if you'd like to subscribe. So lots of things going on at FOF Towers, Matt.
Exciting, yes.
I know.
Yes, looking forward to that. They've got a bit of a summer of things planned, haven't they?
I know we have. Yeah, we have.
Maybe we'll be appearing at some point, fingers crossed.
Yeah, there's definitely room for a Fighting on Film talk or something of that ilk, definitely. Lots of things going on at Dispatches. We've got some really good speakers locked in for later on in the season as well. So you just have to keep the eyes peeled and the ears peeled for when we let you all know. Anyway, so I think I'm on the cast this week, and I've got cast down here as key cast, officers and ratings, and M. All will become apparent in a minute. So we have Trevor Howard as Lieutenant Commander, Hugh Fraser, The Way Ahead, Brief Encounter, The Third Man, Cockleshell Heroes, Operation Crossbow, Von Ryan's Express, and many, many more. One of your key British immediate post-war cinema leading men there. He's absolutely fab in this. Then we have Richard Attenborough as Dripper Daniels. Of course, Richard Attenborough needs no introduction. In Which We Serve, Matter of Life and Death, Dunkirk, Sea of Sand, The Great Escape, The League of Gentlemen, and of course he directed A Bridge Too Far, Oh What a Lovely War, and Young Winston. Powerhouse. You can't say anything more than that. Then we have James Donald as Lieutenant Richard Jennings. You'll know him from In Which We Serve, Went the Day Well, San Demetrio, London, and The Great Escape. Another absolute stalwart
Standing in for Richard Stack, Robert Stack, I should say.
Robert Stack, yeah, who couldn't get visa.
Couldn't get in, could he?
That's one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of post-war British cinema.
Canadian accent.
Yeah. Imagine that. Then we have Sonny Tufts as Yank Flanagan. A few of his war movies include So Proudly We Hail, Here Come the Waves, and The 7-Year Itch. Then we have Bernard Lee as Able Seaman Stripey Wood, perhaps best known for his role as M in the first 11 Bond films. It's amazing to see him in a movie where he looks young.
Yeah.
In this. It's really weird. It's
interesting, isn't it? He appears in a few, he's sort of like a really strong upper echelon supporting actor, isn't he? And then he kind of like gets that iconic role, and that's what everyone kind of knows him for.
Yeah, no doubt. Like one of the proper stalwarts of that initial like James Bond-a-thon that was going on. Really cool. But some of Bernard Lee's war film works include Battle of the River Plate, Seagulls over Sorrento, Dunkirk, and Sink the Bismarck,
Great in
which of course we
Dunkirk.
covered. Very good in Dunkirk. Then we have rounding out. Well, not really rounding out. There's a couple of honourable mentions, but rounding out, we have Dora Bryan as Gladys Flanagan. No
Mm.
prizes for who she marries in the movie, but she's a BAFTA Award winner for Taste of Honey, and other appearances in films more relevant to us are Cockleshell Heroes, Carry On Sergeant, and Desert Mice, which is kind of like a
Ah,
proto Carry On Desert Mice.
yeah, yeah. There's a few proto Carry On films, isn't there? In the
Yeah, there are.
in the late 50s, early 60s, and it's like this is a lot of the cast and a
Mm,
lot of the vibe of an early
kind of,
Carry On film
kind of like feeling it out almost.
before they go full smut.
Exactly. And talking of Carry On, we have Sid James in his pre-Carry On days as a cameo as a little pub landlord, which is really
He was
cool.
another one that got about an awful lot.
Yeah, Lavender Hill Mob, loads of stuff pops up in
Quatermass too.
Quatermass too. Yeah, wow, yeah, and then a
As the
couple of small
drunk
roles.
reporter.
Oh God, yeah, a couple of small roles for Meredith Edwards and Patrick Doonan as well. But it's a stellar cast, really great. No weak links this week. Really, really solid cast. So Matt, I think you're on to production.
I am. So the film was directed by Compton Bennett. His only other war movie per se is So Little Time, 1952. But actually, during the war, he was heavily involved in making of documentaries and propaganda films, working extensively as an editor on a couple of instructional films and, as I mentioned, some propaganda
Hmm.
films. These included Find, Fix and Strike, 1942. He was also the director on that one. The Big Blockade and Flemish Farm, 1942 and 43, which he was both editor on. And then Men of Rochdale, 1944, which again he was director of. And he also, you'll like this, he also directed an episode or two of The Four Just Men.
Oh, incredible.
Mm.
Yes. Yes. Love that show.
The series with Jack Hawkins and et al. From
Yep.
1959,
It's brilliant.
which we did do a show and tell episode on some
Yeah,
years
we
ago.
did. Yeah. Yeah.
Interestingly, the film was released in North America, US, and Canada as Glory at Sea rather than Gift Horse, which I can understand that. It's a little bit more descriptive, isn't it? But it hasn't got
Yeah.
that. Yeah, it hasn't got a bit that charm to it.
No, The Gift Horse is a much better title.
I
Yeah.
think I think so too. Just as a bit of a synopsis for the film, it tells the story of one of the 50 Lend-Lease or pre-Lend-Lease, I should say, destroyers that were loaned to the UK by the US the early parts of the war, and these four-funnel old destroyers became a bit of a backbone to the
Yeah.
destroyer escort fleet for the convoys, and then
Hello, Winston. It's your friend Roosevelt here. I can get you some old destroyers, but that's about the best I can
we're,
do.
we're, we're going to need some of your bases, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
So the most famous of those being HMS Campbelltown,
Yes.
which was formerly USS Buchanan, which famously took part in the Saint Nazaire raid, which the end of this film kind of dramatizes. So the film does this interesting thing where it kind of tells the story of one of these four funnel destroyers,
Yeah.
and then it morphs in on convoy duty and stuff like that, and then it morphs into a telling of the Saint Nazaire raid, which
Yeah, it's brilliant.
it works really well actually.
Does work brilliantly well. Yeah.
So the film was produced by Molten Pictures, or Molten Films, I should say, which was an offshoot of one of a number of production companies, but it was ostensibly set up to make this film, and I believe this is the only film that they made. And it was set up by two of the producers, James Laurie and John Wolfe, to take over production from J. Lewis Productions. And J. Lewis Productions were not super happy with the creative approach of Bennett. So it was decided that the producers would move away and set up their own. And
Yeah.
it worked out fairly well, I think. The film was written by a bit of a group effort, actually. A screenplay was provided by William Fairchild, who also directed The Silent Enemy, 1958. And he also wrote The Malta Story.
Ah,
1953. Yeah, big credit there. The screenplay was also co-written by Hugh Hastings, whose biggest other kind of war movie credit is Seagull's Over Sorrento, 1954.
nice link to Bernard Lee there.
Indeed. And then we've got Ivan Goff and Ben Roberts. Now, they seem to be a bit of a writing duo, worked together for quite a few years, in fact. And they wrote the original story that the screenplay was later built onto
Uh-huh.
or off of. And they worked on Hornblower 1951, which we've covered on the show and loved, King of the Khyber Rifles 1953. And later they went on to create Charlie's Angels.
Really?
Apparently so.
That Charlie's Angels?
The Charlie's Angels, yeah.
Wow. What a career.
And then William Rose has a bit of an adaptation credit. Not entirely sure where he fits in, whether I think he helped adapt the original story idea into the screenplay. But as I said, it's a bit of a team effort on the writing side this week. And his biggest credits include The Lady Killers, 1955.
Wow.
Alec Guinness.
Yeah.
In the studios. And then The Russians Are Coming with
Wow.
Alan Arkin from 1966, which is an interesting kind of, it's kind of like 1941, but with
Yeah,
a
but
Russian submarine.
yeah.
It's a Cold War 1941.
Yeah.
It's one for the future, perhaps. It's an
I have to
interesting
cover that
movie.
for sure.
Moving on to the kind of production side of things, cinematography was handled by Harry Waxman, perhaps best known for things like The Swiss Family Robinson, 1960, The Day the Earth Caught Fire, 61, The Wicker Man, 1973, and The Biggest Dog in the World, 1973, if you've ever seen that clip of the Old English sheepdog getting up and punching a guy and then jumping out of a window. That's Harry.
I have seen that film.
It's classic Disney.
One of the films of all time.
One of the films, edited by Alan Obiston, Against the Wind, 1948, Lord Jim, 1965, of course, with O'Toole. And he was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Film Editing for 1962's, the best of them, The Guns of Navarone.
Yay! But not yay, because I like Force 10. But yay!
And you're incorrect on that matter. As we've already established.
Every week, guys. Every week. My mental health is suffering here. Every week. I'm dashed on the rocks like the guns at Navarone. I'm dashed on the rocks.
Music was provided by Clifton Parker, who also provided the score for In Which We Serve, 1942. Documentaries including Battle Is Our Business, 1942, Towards the Offensive, 1944, and Western Approaches in the same year, as well as This Happy Breed, 1944 as well, The Wooden Horse, 1950, Single-Handed, 1953, Sea of Sand, 1958, The 39 Steps, 1959, Sink the Bismarck, 1960, and HMS Defiant, 1962, and Mystery Submarine, 1963. So Clifton Parker provided some pretty classic scores.
The pedigree on this one, it obviously, because parentheses, I enjoyed this film a lot this week, but when you hear the production, it just makes sense.
Kind of see why
this
don't you?
movie's really good. Yeah.
Then we have Cliff Richardson. Cliff Richardson, who handled some of the effects work on the film. Now, I need to preface this that there's going to be quite a few listed here. I'm not going to do them in date order. I'm just going to run through them in a kind of a brisk manner, just to illustrate the kind of depth he brought to this. So he worked on the following. His previous film to Gift Horse was in fact The African Queen.
Wow.
1951. He also worked on Captain Horatio Hornblower in 1951 as well. The Captive Heart, 1946. What else do we have in this big list? Let me scroll. The Red Beret. The Sea Shall Not Have Them. Fire Down Below. Tank Force. Sea of Sand. The Last Blitzkrieg. The Siege of Sydney Street. Lawrence of Arabia. The Victors, Seventh Dawn, Lord Jim. What else have we got? Dirty Dozen, Young Winston, Day of the Jackal, and Juggernaut, that terrible Robert Shaw
Wow.
film we
Yeah,
watched.
that was awful. Yeah, he seems like the Nick Cage of SFX.
Honestly,
Like it,
honestly,
like do anything.
he appeared on so many credit lists. I was just one of those. Every now and then, when we do like a cast and credits roundup, which I think is sometimes I worry that cast and credits kind of halts the show a little bit before we get into the more opinion side of things. But then you come to these people that have these incredible careers, and you kind of understand that what we're trying to do with this section is kind of show some context into
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
the
I was going to
people
say,
that
don't
make
shit on
these
the
movies.
format that we came up with. This worked for 5 years. I mean,
But
man,
I'm
come
allowed
on.
to. I'm allowed to
Yeah,
shit
I
on the
know.
format
I
or
know.
raise questions about the format because I love the format. Don't get me wrong.
This has become an internal production meeting right now. Not
No,
Matt,
but
not in front of the listeners' ears.
sometimes I'm like when we like list 1,000 films and we talk about
Yeah,
100 people that make a film, I sometimes think
we love film. We love cinema, Matt.
are we the cave in the second original Star Wars movie where he goes in there and it stops the movie dead?
No, we're not that cave. We're not that cave.
The cast and production are not that cave.
We're not Jeddah.
Carrying on with the exciting production notes that I have. Budget was £218,784. Now, the film didn't perform fantastically at the US box office, which isn't surprising for a British war movie of this era. It
No,
takes a certain kind of look and formula to have a British war movie of the 50s kind of
do
break through
well
and make an impact
in
in the
America.
US.
Yeah,
I think it's just a different cultural approach. Sometimes it worked, sometimes
yeah.
it didn't. It earned, according to the producer receipts, £152,000 and 152,287 pounds back, and was that's in the US, I believe, and was the 211th highest grossing film of 1952, which doesn't sound great, but the estimate put that at $400,000.
That's decent.
So
No
it's
wrong with
not
that.
bad. It made its money back
Yeah.
and some more. So while a lot of the things online that you read about this film, it call it a bit of a it didn't do amazingly, like certain war movies of the period. It did pretty well, and at this point, Trevor Howard's a draw at the
Oh
box
God, yeah.
office as a leading man, really popular,
Yeah.
and he's fabulous in this.
Oh, he's absolutely incredible. Yeah.
So that rounds out production.
Hooray, lovely. So that's into the retro review this week. So it's from Variety from July 1952. And I'll read you a little brief excerpt. They say, despite its war, do you want me to read it in a jaunty English voice?
Please do Mid-Atlantic.
Okay. Mid-Atlantic. Wow.
Think Cary Grant.
I think Cary Grant. Despite its wartime setting, this isn't primarily a war picture. Predominantly, it's the story of a ship and the men who served in her, and the main action sequence is reserved as a fitting climax to the story, and the ship itself is strong, dramatic entertainment with a first-rate Anglo-American cast, and worthy box office contender on both sides of the Atlantic.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Not bad. Not bad. It held. Much like the crew at the end of this movie. They held. See, we got it back. Right, on to this week's One Road Reviews. And gosh, you came out in force. So, kicking off, we had Brian Williams, Campbelltown. Paul Byrne says Barroom Brawl. Robin Maguire goes Punch Up. Lance Nielsen, Quaint. Eddie Bond, Passable. Grandpa Janus Uxux, I can never say that one. Stoic. Harvey Griffith, Underappreciated. Kevin Best, Classic. Pete the Paint, Court Material. Mediocre Modeler, Tim, A Little Gem. Dominic Suave, Unseen. Stephen O'Neill, Fantastic. Nick Hughes, Tufts. Ian Davidson goes Unlucky, Ship. Ian Garner goes Mythical. Wandering Deep's Canadian. And Mark Aslett goes Chariot.
There you go.
I think this one's a little bit of a beloved little gem, I think.
Yeah. I got the feel
maybe
from
underrated, I don't know.
Quite a few people hadn't actually seen it. I was quite
Yeah.
surprised.
Yeah, I was saying to Matt when we were watching it, because a little bit of more foff law this week, because Matt's dropped the bombshell, he doesn't like the format.
I do like the format.
I know
Don't
you
be
don't.
saying that.
I know you do.
Don't be saying that.
I know you do. But Matt changed the movie this week. We won't say what the movie was going to be. I'm really glad he did, because I couldn't remember if I'd seen this or not. I think I've seen bits of it over the years. I can't
Hmm.
remember, but I think there's a reason for that because it all these kind of like post World War Two, immediate post war era British cinema Navy films all kind of blur into one in a way.
Yeah, they're like, oh God, I hope Jack Hawkins gets the Bismarck in a minute when the Tirpitz is sunk
Yeah.
in
I hope
Montevideo.
I hope no coward and his mates make it out alive.
Yeah.
Like yeah. Hope John Mills catches that submarine. Um, like there's all things like that. But anyway, on to this week's Ali Tally.
It's time for Alley Tally on Fighting on Film.
So we've got to induct the HMS Ballantrae, real name
Mm.
HMS Leamington, into the Fighting on Film Benevolent Fund retirement home for war movie vehicles and now ships. We're gonna have to build a dry dock.
Yep, yep. The dry dock. I mean, that was always on the cards, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah, it's there alongside the Compass Rose and the Saltash Castle from the Cruel Sea. This is the reason we have to keep doing final film because the bills from that place are through the roof, through the roof. So the ship itself was HMS Leamington, originally given to the Royal Navy as part of the 1940s Destroyers for Bases deal between the US and UK. We heard from Roosevelt earlier. Originally called HMS Twiggs under US service. Later, she was acquired by the Soviet Navy and was called the Zuguchi, which means fiery in Russian. Probably butchered that.
Firebrand. Yeah, something like that.
Firebrand, yeah. And was later scrapped in July 1951. But Leamington herself, while she was in Royal Naval Charge, took part in the ill-fated convoy PQ-17 in June 1942.
Wow.
Which is
Wow.
incredible. She went through
And
some...
she was also in Canadian service for about 18 months as well.
She got around, didn't she?
43 as HMCS Leamington or Leamington.
A
whatever.
real stalwart.
Yeah.
And filming aboard the ship was allowed to take place before she was scrapped in 52.
Fabulous. Fabulous.
Oh no! What a life this ship had! Incredible. I'm really surprised in the movie they don't. I mean, because maybe it's budget, but like they don't make up a PQ-17 type rate like convoy for them to go on. But I wonder at this point, is the what happened to PQ-17 still not quite public knowledge?
Maybe,
Perhaps.
perhaps not. I don't know.
Maybe it was
There's a
suppressed,
little
I don't know.
allusion to it, isn't there? Where there's fog and
Oh yeah, and they let that
there's a little bit of that.
let that tanker go through and it gets blown up. Yeah, and old Howard gets slapped on the wrist a bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's his standby attacking moment where he's like,
Yeah. Oh, he has a better one later though, doesn't he?
"Oh, he does when he rams that."
Oh,
that,
when I
that
ram the
sub.
U-boat. Oh, that's beautiful. I
Tasty.
didn't think we'd get ramming, but we did, and it was beautiful. I got more, Matt, but you jump in.
I'm going to throw out the nice bits of 20mm Oerlikon that we get. First, in that sequence where they down that bomber, which is a nice little shot actually, where all those bombers come in. There's also a nice bit of splicing in contemporary footage, which we always love to see, with some of the convoy scenes at sea. And then my other mention is the .5 Vickers, which is behind Trevor when he's giving the briefing about the
Oh
raid.
yeah, I saw that too.
You don't see it used, but it's there.
It's nice. And
Pretty
the
cool.
6-pounder action deck gun when they're on the raid and they're all having a
Yeah, I
blast.
think so. Yeah,
That's nice.
something like that. It's like a 6 or a 12. Or
You
something.
rarely get to see lads actually like operating them as a team in films, like shelling, and then one guy gets killed and Richard Attenborough takes over and he starts putting the shells in. It's really cool. I love it. And that we'll talk about that raid sequence later, but it's such a frantic little scene and people are taking over from guys that have been injured and it feels really lived in. It makes the ship feel like real, like these guys have been through so much now that everything they're doing is like clockwork. It's like really subtle with it. I really enjoyed that.
Just had
well-
a check, and apparently they were 4 inches.
4-inch. Okay, I was only 2 inches off.
That's
Only
what she
2
said.
inches off. Or him. Yeah.
Or him.
Yeah. 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 LGBTQ history month.
What they said.
Yep, of course, my brethren. Anyway, from inches to uniforms. Christ, let's start again. So, do you mind if I go on a tangent about uniforms like I always do?
Do I ever mind? I don't think so.
Never. No, we've come to expect it on the show. So, this week, I know we've talked about Royal Naval duffel coats, but I've gone to a little bit of digging. So, One of my early picks is those Royal Naval duffel coats that they wear near the end of the movie, and the version of the duffel coat that seemed to be worn by Trevor Howard and his officers seem to be coat duffel drab with hood attached. That's the
Of
official
course.
name.
The classic.
Yep, and they nicknamed them Monties after Field Marshal Montgomery.
Oh.
The sort of
Yeah.
sand coloured drab ones.
Do you reckon he nicked one off a boat when he was on his
He
way?
might have done. Yeah, he's a bit of a dresser, old Monty, when he
He's like,
win
"Can I have
Dax
that?"
and all things like that.
Yeah.
Definitely. And there were, I think, there were ratings ones that were navy coloured as well. But yeah, really, really cool. And the Navy had been wearing duffel coats since the 1890s, I learned as well, which is really interesting.
Fascinating. I had no idea
Yeah,
it went
didn't know
that far
that.
back.
And the commandos in their battle dress at the end. You don't see so much of them, but they're in like full 37 pattern. They've got, I think they've got M1928 Thompsons, some SMLEs, but the version I watched wasn't the most crispy, so I couldn't
Well,
really tell.
the version I watched was sufficiently crispy to tell some 1928 Thompsons with both the foregrip and the
Nice.
horizontal grip as well.
Which is perfect for the Santa Zero.
Absolutely.
42. Perfect.
Spot on. I like the little sequence where they like paint their faces, get ready
Oh,
for the
that's
raid.
cool. Yeah.
They've all got little like helmets and cap comforters on. That's quite cool.
And they all go underneath the rigging a little bit to like hide. It's really, really great, that
There's
bit.
that one horrific shot of a guy that's lying prone in the just next to the gunnel, and the ship gets hit, and he just gets thrown up in the air. There's some nice little bit of model work there.
The model work is superb. We'll talk about that sequence in a minute. I don't know if this is an anachronism or not, or maybe not, but the 50s style diner that Flanagan visits.
The milk bar. Yeah.
The milk bar. Yeah, to go and meet.
I think
Gladys.
there was milk bars like that around in the 40s.
I think there probably were.
Because I think milk bars emerged in the 20s.
No, actually, no, it is a milk bar because there's a sequence where they have the fight, and he says to her, "You might want to go down to the milk bar, and I'll meet you later because there's going to be a fight." So yeah, it was a milk bar, but I love seeing it. It was cool, and then her going, "1 cup of cafe au lait." Like it's so quaint. I love
And
it.
it all
Really
tastes
good.
the same. It
All
was
tastes the
very
same.
funny.
All tastes the same to me, dear. I love that sequence. It was brilliant. Really, really great. So maybe that brings us on our favourite scenes.
I think so, yeah.
Brilliant.
Hello, I'm Al Murray, and you're listening to Fighting on Film, the world's #1 war film podcast.
The second punch up in the bar they have with the other crew they don't like, who've been taking the mickey out of them the whole movie, because they've got this old destroyer, they haven't done much, and they got in trouble for letting that ship go through and it got destroyed. You know, they're giving him grief. So that they're constantly giving him pelters, and they're in the bar that Sid James owns, and there's going to be a fight, and a bottle of Bollinger gets thrown at a wall, and you think, oh, here we go, another cliched fight, because we had a big one earlier, which was all raucous and
Posh boozer, he's running, isn't it? Bollinger, wow.
obviously the ratings are getting all back pay. Maybe they were having a bit of a good night. Who knows? But anyway, so you think you're going to get another classic barroom Navy punch up, but you don't. You get this fantastically edited shot of punches being thrown with quick cuts to these boxing pictures on the wall.
One of which is Sid James.
It's Sid James. Yeah, it's like a 10-15 second sequence, but it's really great, and that's why I'm glad you mentioned the editor this week, because this movie's editing is superb.
It's very good. It is very good.
Really great. And then I think my second favourite scene, probably yours as well, I don't know, but the raid sequence is just so well done. Like the model work is fantastic, the back projection, the animated tracer rounds coming in, the fog, like you see it from the bow, and then they're messaging the shoreline to say, Trevor House giving it, use a German for your firing on friendly ships, and they're giving it the Morse. It's brilliant. It's so well done. And for a movie that, it doesn't have the biggest of budget, to get out like that little San Jose sequence like that, it's just so good. Because it's such a great culmination, and the writing is just really sharp on that. And the only criticism of that sequence, me and Matt were talking about it today, is that we just wanted to see some commandos jump off the ship and get into it with the Jerrys, with the Thompsons, or, I don't know, to have Trevor Howard get off the ship and he's trying to get back to his mates who are a bit wounded and maybe grab a bit of wood or something and just bop one of the Jerrys on the head. Like we just wanted a little something, but it was a fabulous sequence.
No, I agree. We independently had that thought,
Mm.
and I think it would have been nice to have just a 30-second, pickup shot of. We get a little bit. There's a nice shot through a window,
Yeah,
isn't there? And it's framed, and you see the commandos doing a fighting retreat backwards, like firing
yeah,
bursts down an alleyway, walking backwards. Looks really cool. But there's so much. What surprised me is at the end you can see so many German extras marching them
yeah,
off, and there's vehicles and stuff. I didn't have a chance to ID any of the vehicles because it's so brief, and the rip wasn't,
yeah.
ideal for IDing stuff. They weren't. I don't think they were particularly German, but we'll
They
let
were
that off.
foreign.
There's
Yeah,
probably a Bedford in there somewhere. With that number of extras, you think they would have choreographed just like a little sequence and
perhaps.
couple of little pyro bits, but maybe they were right up on the line on budget. So
Possibly, but I also like how it's about the crew's experience of the
yeah,
raid as well. And they're looking out of that smashed window, seeing how the commandos are getting on, knowing that they're probably not going to get out at this point. And then you just get the coldest, coolest shot of Howard being interrogated by the most cliched Nazi you've ever seen,
yeah,
and he's just lighting his pipe and taking a puff because he knows that the Amatol's going to go up in the bow any time and it obviously hasn't yet. And we know the real raid, it didn't go off for a few hours later, and the Germans were showing it all the great and the good around, and it went up then, and they got extra few
film
casualties.
film takes great pains to show all the
Yeah.
German officers getting on board the ship
Oh
just
yes.
before the end.
You
Very
know the
nice.
dock in after the raid. I don't think the dock was serviceable till the 50s. They did that
Wow,
much of a job on it.
wow.
And then you get them all marching out, and one of them roughs up Richard Attenborough a little bit, and he turns around. And at the start of the movie, he'd been chastised for not wearing his cap on straight, and he knows the book. He's a bit of a barrack room lawyer. He knows the
Yeah,
rules.
trade
And there's been
unionist in civilian life.
that's it, yeah, good boy. Couple of and he turns around and goes in only the way that cheeky Richard Attenborough way can deliver, where he goes, "You can't do that to me. You know the rules of the Geneva Convention, 3Y501. You can't treat a prisoner of war that way." And then he just gets marched off, and then the ship goes up. It's just a great little ending. I love it. Really cool, lovely sequence.
My favorite scene is the ramming of the U-boat, which is great. So you get this tension of them chasing it, pick it up on Aztec, the depth charging, and they've had a number of occasions where they've not managed to hit the submarine either with guns or with depth charges because they haven't been able to move. The ship's been out of action, like the steam pipe's been down, and they finally get this cathartic win in the most spectacular fashion of just ramming straight through it with their
Prepare to
with the
ram,
bow.
Terence says.
Yeah. Prepare to ram is Treb's standby attacking, isn't it? In this, I
Yeah,
think.
it really is in this. Yeah.
There's a lot of parallels between the two sequences. Cruel Sea and that obviously different kind of conclusion. Whereas in the Cruel Sea they're rather clever, and it's they get their win, but you don't see the win. It's just the oil you see, kind
Yeah.
of thing. With this, you see it's a more cathartic climax to that.
Yeah, they proper tear that U-boat in half, I think. Like, they
That
proper
whole first
go on
act
it.
of them having
Yeah.
lots of bad luck, and then they
And
finally
the
rip
way
through
they
it.
do it as well is really subtle. The camera just moves up and down a little bit. It was brilliant.
Yeah,
I loved it.
it's like the U-boat is nothing to
No,
the
The gift,
to
the
gift
gift horse
horse.
is just made of absolute steel, literally. like just
But it's great because I mean there's a nuance to the action because they order the guns to open up. The guns open up. They get to the point where they
That's
can't
it,
depress
yeah.
enough anymore. So he tells the crew to evacuate the forecastle.
Yeah.
because they're going to ram the damn thing. There's going to be debris everywhere. The bow might
No.
get sheared off. He doesn't know. So I mean, it's happened
True.
before. Look at Glowworm. So they basically, they evacuate that, and then you get that little sequence of him on the
Yes.
gripping the bridge, railing, and then they just kind of like go up and down.
I
And
loved it.
it's just a great little sequence.
Did you
I
notice
really
when
like
because
it.
they smash cut after that to them coming home and being cheered by the aircraft carrier and the other ships, and they finally got their just desserts,
Yeah,
their kudos, but they line up a bunch of ratings on the side of this aircraft carrier or something, and they use them to mask the bow of the ship just enough so you can't see it's
oh,
not
do they?
been in movie terms. You can't see it's not been damaged. There's a really lovely little, clever little bit of editing there. I really like that because then obviously
Oh,
after
nice.
that
I
she's
didn't
in for
notice.
repairs and gets fitted and she gets her funnels taken off so they can look more like a German torpedo boat. And all that, so it's really really
Mm.
cool. And I gotta say, go back to my favorite scene. That shot, and I don't know if it's a matte painting. I'm not sure what it is, but there's a shot.
I think it's a
Yeah,
combination. There's like a matte painting. There's like drawn tracer,
oh no, I
the
mean
white
in terms of
streaks.
when they see the ship after she's been fitted, and they all say, "Wow, look what
Ah,
they've done to
yeah.
the old ship," and it's just a really lovely, good
Hmm.
scale depth shot. It's just blink and you'll miss it. There's so much in this movie that it's just there's a lot of care gone into this one.
I particularly liked well, I didn't like it, but I appreciated it. I liked the sequence where Howard's character finds out that his son's been killed,
Oh yeah,
and he receives the telegram, and he's finally in a decent mood, and it's Christmas, and he's in the officer's mess having a drink, and he's got to go down and be jovial with the crew, and stand relieved by the youngest rating, the whole tradition side of things, and he has to kind of like grin and bear the fact that he's just lost his
stoic.
only son, and now he's alone in the world. Just Howard's face and his physical acting in that
Howard
probably
brings
like
so much to
5 minute
this.
sequence is very
Really
good,
good. There's a
very
lot of-
deep. And his little break during the Christmas toast is
brilliant.
just And
Yeah.
then he walks off.
I like the bit where Flanagan, I think it's Flanagan or is it the other guy, Richard Attenborough's friend. I can't remember because they look quite similar to me in build. Bernard Lee,
Bernard
yeah, it
Lee.
might be Bernard Lee actually, or one of them. But he's said sorry for going AWOL.
No, that'll be
The Yank,
the
sorry for
Yank,
going
yeah.
AWOL, and and Howard's pissed in his bed. He's like, I don't care, it's fine. I don't care. And he just lets him leave. It's really good.
I love the fact that it basically like it insinuates that he's gone to the pub to make sure that the guy doesn't sue the Navy
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
for damages. And then they confirm it by having like holding on to a signed photograph of Sid James
yeah,
as a boxer. It's great.
fantastic. It's really great. So on to final thoughts. I think this week.
I loved it.
Yeah, I loved it as well.
A classic of the genre. It's straight in. You get a great introduction to all the crew. There's no messing around. And it's remarkable how quickly that you get a read on them all. You kind
Yeah.
of very quickly associate who all the characters are and what their kind of characterization is going to be. I tell you what, it's the only thing that could make it perfect is if you had a Herbert and Hawkins appearance.
I've got that down.
Percy Herbert as a rating, and then Hawkins as the flotilla captain that commands the convoy escort.
Well, I've got
He'd be perfect in that.
Hawkins, Mills, or Kenneth Griffith.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like, it's something about it. You just want because the film's so good. You just want to see them in it. And it's not even like we were saying. Oh, it needs a bigger star. Like, no, it doesn't. This movie's chock full of them.
No.
But you're so right. I've got it here. It's that classic. Something about post World War II British naval cinema is that they take time to show you the crew in a way that other movies maybe don't, and you get to see them at home. You get to see them have lives outside of the ship, and it builds characterization really, really well in these movies.
And you don't even see any of it.
No,
That's the thing. You hear about it. You hear about Attenborough's character going off to see his sick mother. You hear about
Gladys getting bombed in
Gladys
Exeter.
and Yank, their wedding, and then you see a bit of the wedding, but you don't see a great deal of their lives. But she's packed off to Exeter, and you genuinely do feel that it's sad when it's revealed that she's been killed in bombing.
It is, and it's in that vein of The Cruel Sea, in which we
Good writing
very good writing.
is what it is, I think.
That vein of Cruel Sea, in which we serve above us the waves, and you get the ship and the men that crew it, and all the side plots that stem from it. It's just really great. Like it's just a real great little gem, and I've got it here as well. This is the kind of film that the pod was made for, because it's is
Mm,
genuinely a hidden gem of that period, because it's eclipsed by The Cruel Sea. But
yeah.
this one is really, really well worth seeking out. It's only an hour and 40. It flies by. The pacing is superb. Some great little,
Again, good
good
writing.
writing, great little turns, some really good effects for the time. A real rip roarer. I loved every minute of it. I thought it was absolutely fantastic.
It's a very grounded film. The captain, the crew, the ship,
Mm,
all have their faults. You know, they're all fallible,
yeah.
and in that respect, it's very much like the Cruel Sea. You see the interpersonal relationships between the officers, like the number one and the
Hmm.
captain, have that grating relationship where Howard's character is a bit of a stickler, whereas the Canadian first lieutenant is a little bit more, focused on making sure men are ready for combat.
Hmm.
He doesn't ascribe to the, clean ship, ready for combat kind of mentality. And I think that's one of the strengths of the film, that it has these layers of interaction with the characters.
Mm,
And then there's some genuine warmth amongst the ratings for the officers.
yes.
There's a nice affiliation between the chief engineer and Howard's captain character,
Mm,
and it's only revealed in the last act of the film, or maybe the middle act of the film, that the reason why they have that kind of good working relationship and understanding is because they've served together before in the
yeah.
30s.
Yeah.
There's lots of nuance in the whole Royal Naval Reserve
Yeah.
thing, crews from all over the Commonwealth and outside the Commonwealth, being the Yank,
Yep.
who joined up in
He
41.
goes, I'm from Dublin, and Trevor Howard snaps back, where's that Chicago? So he goes, I'm from Ireland, and he snaps back, where's that Chicago? It's a great little line.
Yeah,
Really great line.
great. But yeah, I think it is one of those really well crafted war movies of the early 50s. There's some great action sequences that we've already talked about. The Yank buying it on the Orlecan,
Yeah.
Bernard Lee
Oh,
going down on the Orlecan, and then Attenborough taking over
know.
from, firing off the gun. And just a really nice level. It's not the best model work in the world, but it's endearing.
yeah, that's the word. Because when
isn't
I was,
it? And
when I saw it, I was like, I love this. I love how they've done this. Like, it's just so good. Proper ingenuitive filmmaking here. Like, it's so great. Like, it's why that golden age is called the golden age of war cinema. It's a bit, well, I know we say it, but there's a reason for it. It's because all these movies are bloody great. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't say fairer than that, can you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And when you've got writing like that, coupled with performances like the ones that Howard gives,
Yes.
then it's hard to disagree with.
No, you're right. You're so right. And the only issue with this movie is that it's a little bit hard to track down on streaming. Don't think it's out on streaming.
Yes,
You
very.
can rent it on YouTube or Google Play, so that's something. I had a DVD of it. I get it for like £1 or something these days. You can find it.
Yeah.
Well worth seeking out for fans if you haven't seen it. Add it to your collection. So we're on to this week's large question, which was Matt's large question, and he asked, "What's your favourite Navy film?" And we had quite a lot of responses. So Rob goes with, or username Rob, you'll know who you are. He says, tie between Master and Commander, Das Boot, and Hunt for October. Paul Burns goes, we think we all know I'm going with Crimson Tide, followed by Greyhound. Great shout for Greyhound. Really solid picture.
Is that sequel still in the works? I hope so.
Apparently so. There's another project I think Tom Hanks is working on with Apple that's war related, and I can't remember off the top of my head what it is.
Oh, okay, we'll
Yeah.
see.
He's doing that documentary, isn't he, about the Second World War? It's coming out soon. Anyway, Dougie Brimson gives us 5. He goes, The Cruel Sea, Das Boot, in which we serve the Hunt for October and sink the Bismarck. All greats. Brian Williams, in which we serve. A.D. Bond said, got him first, Master and Commander, Far Side of the World. Another one, Paul Hicks says, Master and Commander, except no substitute, he says.
I tend to agree with Paul.
The movie that saved Paul Bettany's career, is it? Is that the one? I think he said it before, isn't he?
It is, and he's very good at it. Very good at it.
Brilliant. Consummate. Kerry Thomas goes, Master and Commander, which seemed popular choice, I have to agree, but honourable mention to Greyhound, a twofer. Harvey Griffith, although it's light on FOF action, the Kane Mutiny hooks me every time it's on. Bogart at his best.
Great courtroom drama.
Yeah.
We need to do military courtroom dramas month.
We do.
And get a load of lawyers on to discuss them with us.
Yeah, we could get Legal Eagles from YouTube. That'd be fantastic. That'd be amazing.
Any lawyers out there that want to come on to Fighting on Film's Military Tribunal Month, right in at PO Box, Fighting on Film.
Have you refused to serve on a World War II destroyer? Then you could be owed compensation.
Were you missold serving on a destroyer in the war?
And then rounding us out this week, we'll go for Jonas Grumby, who goes In Harm's Way with John Wayne.
That's got a good top-down view in Harm's Way. Interesting.
Lots of naval classics there. Lots of seamen.
I'm going to go for two.
That's staying in.
I'm going to go for two ends of the spectrum.
Okay.
I'm going to go for, first, I'm going to say Master and Commander, Far Side of the World.
Yeah, we know you like that one.
Love it. Can't wait to cover it. One of the best.
I've seen half of it. I've never seen the whole thing.
Oh my God.
That's a revelation.
Oh my God. It stabs at the heart, that does. That's terrible. God. And then my other choice is Final Countdown.
Oh,
with Kirk Douglas.
that is a classic. That's great.
It's such a bizarre movie. I love it. It's great.
I love it when the guy bursts out and he captures the M16 and fires off the magazine and doesn't know what to do with it because he's from the 40s. Yeah, it's so good. I've got you can't go wrong, can you? The Cruel Sea or Above Us the Waves with John Mills.
Oh, yeah, you do like that one. It's a good one.
Yeah, really good. Obviously, The Cruel Sea. Great film. Yeah, you can't say fairer than that.
Nope.
It's a fabulous flick. Yeah, no, that was another episode of Fighting on Film. Do join us in March at the IWM for more war movie fun. And do check out the Dispatches magazine link coming soon to the website and the social media. Get a big 10% off as well. Lovely stuff.
Yes, indeed. Indeed. Definitely worth checking out.
And as always, all that's left to say is you've been the listeners, we've been Fighting on Film, and do catch us next week for more war movie reviews. And yet again, it's time for me to say bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.